My name is Rev, and this is Winston, and this is our 1986 Ford Econoline Club Wagon, and I'm going to give you a tour. Let's go! So this is my 1986 Ford Econoline Club Wagon. I have spent the last 10 months or so, with the help of my aunt, doing some restoration work, mainly to things like the motor, the tailpipe, muffler, different things like that. It needed a little bit of work. And now I'm finally at the point when I can show everybody its transformation. So it was originally a traditional four-seater, actually. It only had the two in the front and then a seat in the back, but we have modified it so that it is now a camper van. So we've converted it, and I'm going to go ahead and show you everything and how it looks. So taking a look in here, I'd like to call out the floor. So originally this was a bright red carpet. Excuse the dirt, we're actually camping as we speak. So there is a little dirt on the floor, but this was originally carpet, so we ripped this up. We found a couple of holes due to rust. We treated the rust, filled the holes, and then we did a layer of the ISO, the pink board for insulation, a layer of plywood, and then a layer of the vinyl flooring. We just picked all of that up at Home Depot, and luckily enough, the only nice wood flooring that they seem to have really works well for the aesthetic of the van. Then taking a look at here, another important thing to call out would be actually most of the shelving. So the shelving, as well as the bed frame, came from IKEA. So the shelving is all pine from IKEA, and it was originally meant for probably for children. It's got storage, so you can see here that there is metal storage bins, and so those are all over the inside of the van, and that allows for a good aesthetic. I think they're pretty cool. I like that they, for the most of the part, match, but I will say that they were a little bit more pricey. So truthfully, if I could time travel, I probably would have picked up more items from thrifting and from estate sales. So we'll go ahead and climb in here. So first, standing in front of us is my sink. Originally, this was just for storage bins, like the one that you see here. But we have modified it. So we cut a hole and we put in a bar sink. Cost like $50 or so. And then we put in a pump nozzle here. So when you want water, you can just pump it up. And I knocked that over. So when you want water, you can just pump that up and down. On Amazon, there's actually a pretty nifty item that you can use that has a motor that can pull water from your water jug rather than using a pump. I would maybe recommend that, as this required some modification in order to fit into this existing hole. And as you can see, I have another hole here, though we're going to cover that up. And then I've got these two bottles here, just picked up from Target. Half water, half vinegar, just for cleaning dishes, and then just some basic water for cleaning hands. So I thought that those were super useful, and it means that you don't use a lot of water. You can just spritz a couple of things and you're good to go. Basically, the way that this works is we have this tube which is connected to the pump, and then this goes into my potable water. I have a 5-gallon jug. I actually have emptied it, and it's sitting outside just to dry. I had water in it from the last time that I had gone camping, which is actually the very first time this was taken out officially. I did that with my aunt. This is actually my first solo trip right now. And it had water in it, so I dumped that out because I didn't want it to grow mold or anything. And the potable water goes right here, slips right there. The hose fits in the back of the water, the 5-gallon potable water. And then the very, very back, I do have a cheap $15 tent from Home Depot. I picked that up mainly because I had watched some YouTube videos that had indicated that some places will not allow you to buy a tent site when you go camping without setting up a tent. So I bought that just to be able to handle that kind of situation. Then taking a look at the top here. So this is actually It was originally a Coca-Cola bottle box, so it held bottles of Coca-Cola. I picked this up at an estate sale for like $10. And I thought it was cool, but I didn't really have a use for it. And then when I got the van, it was a light bulb moment. So we took the original shelves out, and then we put some of them back in with screws, and then that creates some good shelving where I've got some books, some lights, different things like that. In the future, I intend to probably put spices and things like that here, but I didn't need it for this instance. I want to call out this item. I think it's pretty cool. You can find it on Amazon. M-powered. So this is a solar powered string of lights. So all the lights are actually hidden in the bottom here. You can pop them out and then you can solar power this. And I've just strung them in the past over these two shelves that I've created. So you could do the same if you'd like to do so. And because it's solar powered, you're not using any energy. Additionally, I added a couple of hooks. I added a hook here for my silly hat, because every girl wants to be a whiskey kind of cowgirl. But that's a good place for my hat. I just hung that there using 3M or Velcro. And then here I hung my gaming headset with actually some really cool things that I had seen on a YouTube channel. I think it was like Lulu's Way. She does like meetups for senior women throughout the year who also all live in vans. And one of the ladies there had pointed these out. So these have magnets in them, and then it's a silicone rope basically, and you can just hang whatever and connect it to metal. And I thought that those would be super useful, so I did pick those up. Here's what they are called: Smart and Cool magnetic silicone ties. So you can pick up some for yourself. Then, taking a look up above, we did create a couple of shelves. Now these caused us, I'll admit, quite a bit of trouble. The main reason being that these weren't originally shelves. We actually picked these up at IKEA for like $8 each, and they were for storage for your silverware. So they didn't originally have brackets. So we actually bought brackets from Home Depot and bent them. I don't know if I would recommend that. They were a little more trouble than they were worth, but I do like having somewhere where I can store things. So I've got my bread and my liquid IV and my chips just up and kind of out of the way. Then taking a look down here, I realized I hadn't mentioned where my water goes. So I do have my water going to 2.5 gallon potable water. And the reason that I picked this particular one is, as you can see, it's pretty smoosh right now, and that was kind of the point, is I knew I wasn't ever going to use a ton of water. So if I did, I wanted to not really lose out on a lot of storage down here with a rigid potable water, so I did pick up a flexible potable water. So that way I can have more storage. And as you can see, I have filled this to the brim. I have my computer stuff in that multicolored bag there. And then this is basically my garage. So those are all my tools right there in the red and black boxes. And then I've saved a couple of tools from a couple of boxes for a couple of my items in case I need to return them. So those are just sitting up on top. So really just meant for some good storage. And then here I do have this item, which is a 1,000-watt power station. So if you search on Amazon for the cheapest 1,000-watt power station, this is what you'll find. It's about $400, where the average is anywhere from, $600 to $1,000 really. Those are what you'll find on Amazon. So far, it's been working really well. It does charge very slowly, so be aware of that. And I have not quite been able to figure out how to connect solar panels to this, but I am going to look into it, and there's a good likelihood I'll probably be able to figure something out. But it does seem to be doing the job, even though it's a little cumbersome. Then we have right here my internet access. So this has worked surprisingly well. A lot of people online are going to tell you, use T-Mobile's 5G internet, and you can certainly still give that a try, although I have heard that they're cracking down on that. But I had someone suggest to me Verizon's 5G internet, and I figured, why not? I'll give that a try. And this has worked well. And as long as it's not cloudy, I've been getting internet out here. And I am 5 miles away from the nearest town, and that town has 120 people, so it's not like it's got the most advanced things, you know. So highly, highly recommend that. I could not believe that that was actually working. Then down here, I have this bin. This bin holds my curtains and my pee bottle. I hope to never have to use the pee bottle, but I thought it would be good to have. It's a Nalgene with a wide mouth. That seemed to make sense. And then this is my fridge. So we'll go ahead, we'll pull this out here. So taking a look at this, this is also on Amazon. I mean, most of the fridges that you can find recommended by other van life YouTubers, you'll probably even find this one. I think I had somebody recommend it and I just went with it on a whim. But it's got a good amount of storage. It's worked out really well. I'm actually going to steal a water while I'm in there. And it's fantastic for me. Got plenty of space. And it does come with a case, or rather, you can purchase a case, which I did do. And then I'm going to slide it in there. Not all the way because it needs to be able to breathe. Then we can take a look here at my super fantastic awesome bed. So it's mainly super fantastic and awesome just because, as you can see here, it has this, in my opinion, super cool Route 66 blanket on it. So I picked up this quilt actually at an estate sale. I saw it and I was like, this has to go in the van. So I went and I picked it up. It's pretty cool. It's not a handmade quilt, but I was able to do some research on it and find that this particular quilt was made in 1979. So it is actually older than the van. So let's just take a look. It's got some pretty cool things. We got some cattle. We got, here we are on Route 66. We've got cactuses, the no-tell motel, teepee, curios with the dinosaur. I believe that is a real place that you can still go to with the giant dinosaur. And a dining car, and I just thought this was just fantastic. It's really my piece de resistance for my van. So taking a look, this is actually made up of two things. So the top is a Gold Bond futon. I would highly recommend that. They're like $120 on Amazon, and it's a futon mattress. So just the mattress itself, it's only like $120. I actually have one on my bed at home, and it has made it endlessly more comfortable. 100% cotton, would highly recommend. And then underneath would be an item I don't recommend, which is a futon from IKEA. You've guessed it. So this is probably about $250, and it does fold into a couch. I am not going to do that in this video because it is a giant pain in the butt. And truthfully, it is very uncomfortable. So this was not a good purchase. I liked the idea of having a place to sit on a couch, but it's not working. I will probably replace this at some point, but for now the bed is at least acceptably comfortable. Then taking a look at both sides. So right hand side of the van, you can see more IKEA shelving. This is thin shelving, so it only has 2 small bins for each section, and I've just stored various things. I got a drill, I got hot water boiler, and then my various bins, which may or may not have various items in them. I'm going to be organizing those in a little bit more detail with a label maker, which was also something I got from the Lulu's Way channel. Taking a look here, but honestly, tons of storage, and I did not want to compromise my ability to look out the windows, and this has worked out quite well. You can actually see I have a lot of space here on top of it still that I can fill with various items. Then taking a look over here, we have 3 items. So I just happen to have my bucket list of North America, a gift from my aunt. I bought that lantern. It's just a Coleman lantern, powered by batteries. I bought that originally just because where I used to live, we would get a lot of power outages. So I bought that really just to have light in my own apartment. But it works out really well here. Then we have this. So this is a dashboard of an old Fairlane. And I bought it at a swap meet. There's a Back to the 50s car swap meet in Minnesota. Highly recommend, super cool old cars. But someone was selling this and I bought it and I said, Aunt, could you turn this into a light? Because she does stuff like that. And she was like, yeah. So she totally turned it into a light. So the lights totally work. You can see everything. It's a little bit rough, but I like it. I think it's really cool. And then I have it sitting on some magnets. I don't know if it will stay, but we're going to give that a try. That's my latest attempt at keeping it to stay. And then the Coleman is on Velcro. So for most things, I would recommend really just getting Velcro and sticking it to it. I had a little bit of difficulties with the shape of the bottom of this. It's not as flat as it appears, so I just went with magnets. But just Velcro everything, really. Just Velcro everything, and you're pretty much good to go, and it's not going to go anywhere. There's Winston. No. Then we have, on my right-hand side, a piece of furniture that I had picked up from a thrift store for like $15. Again, endlessly cheaper than the IKEA items that I purchased, not gonna lie to you. Taking a look at it here, it's the only thing that is not really open to the world. I've got my kitchen stuff stored in it. So really, again, I just recommend check out some thrift stores. If you have a little bit more patience, which I don't, I would recommend going to thrift stores and picking up items rather than purchasing IKEA items. But as you can see, there's more IKEA shelving with more items on it. And then I picked these up at Costco. They slide out. They weren't really the best choice for the van, truthfully, but I'm making do with it. I don't really slide them out. I just store items in it. And then I've, again, Velcroed that, and it has stayed in place so far. And then somebody was giving away the shelf for free. So now I have this shelf, again, jerry-rigged to fit in the van, and it's storing items that will not stay up there when I drive. So I'll have to pull those down. Then, this is one of my favorite little items. So it is a little fake fireplace. It was like, I don't know, $30 on Amazon. And it is super cool. It just runs on AA batteries, on-off switch. And I just thought it was some fantastic ambiance for the van, honestly. So that's why it's here. Then, taking a look over here. So you can see another set of those shelves, and so those were in my van when I drove away. And as you can see, I don't really have room for them, so they're going to be removed once I get home. I've just kind of threw them up there, and they haven't fallen off. But looking underneath here, I did actually add a cup holder, so I can put my bottle of water or whatever right there, and it'll stay in place. Then some additional items. I do have a fly swatter. It's electric. I have it, again, Velcroed to the wall, so I can just pull it off and get those pesky bugs should I need to do so. Then I have my first aid kit. I've got my fire extinguisher. These are all screwed or Velcroed into the wall. I've got my bag of bags for emergency bags. And then I have my tiny dustpan. I need a vacuum at some point, but the dustpan is acceptable. Now, one thing I did want to call out about the IKEA and any similar furniture where you have like baskets and they can be pulled out. So you can see they're going to pull out and they're going to fall everywhere. But you can get these little latches. So they just spin like this, and you put them in place, and then your stuff is not going to go anywhere. I loved that. The minute I saw them, I was like, I had to use those. Everybody's come up with a million different ways, whether they've, got a stick sitting there or they've got bungee cord, whatever it is, but this is my option, and I think it looks really nice, so I've thrown this on here. And I picked these up at the North 40 in Montana, but you may be able to find them online. I didn't know what they were called, so take a screenshot and you can find them for yourself. Then if we look down at the bottom, an additional thing to note about the floor is the wheel wells. So what I did is I just covered the wheel wells in a thick layer of Reflectix, just to add a little bit of insulation. I don't think it probably works too well, but something is better than nothing. And then underneath that, I do have some solar lights, just the ones that you stick into the ground, and I've just shoved them in the existing space there. Again, just for storage purposes, got to use every inch, right? Then I also installed some handles all around the van just to be able to use to get in and out of the van. I actually rolled my ankle really, really badly in the van, and I'm going to need to get some more steps, but this will certainly help avoid the rolling of the ankles in the future. Then if you take a look at the front of the van here, you can see Winston, and he has got his bed and his items. Initially, these items really just sit on the passenger seat, but I have rotated the passenger seat for this. They're currently sitting on my clothes box. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about clothes. One of the items that I saw online was they had gotten pillowcases and then had filled them with clothes, put them on the bed, and I may still go that route, but for the moment, this is my first trip. I'm just experimenting, doing things. I just threw it all in a box and it fits perfectly fine right there. Then we have the swivel chair. So as you can see, I have a swivel chair. So this van actually did come with a swiveling captain's chair if you purchased that as an add-on. And this van happens to have every possible add-on that I could find listed in the manual, except for the swivel chairs, which is totally fine. I like having a quote-unquote nicer stereo with cassettes, as well as multi-moving windshield wipers. Those are all great items. So instead, we built our own swivel chair. So we purchased the swivel on Amazon and the swivel base, and it did not fit. It did not fit, but usually the answer to almost all things, according to my aunt, is that we'll make it fit. So we made it work, just like we made the shelving and everything else, and we retrofit it so that it would fit, and it swivels. It struggles with swiveling quite significantly, but I was able to do it, and ideally I'd like to be able to sit in that and possibly work in the future. We'll see how that goes. On top of it is a fake fur rug that I bought at IKEA that I should not have bought, but here we are, and there it is. Then additionally, we have another Amazon item, which is this desk. So this is a swiveling desk. If you look up like for boating, you'll find items like this, or for RVing. So this does just swivel out like this. So you can pull it out and do whatever you need to do with it. And it moves around. And again, ideally the goal is to be able to sit there and work on my computer and be able to work while traveling is the goal. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'm grateful to my aunt for helping me get the swivel seat to work, because that is pretty dang cool. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the back of the van and take a look at a few things. A couple additional items I meant to mention. You can see my pillow back there. I also got a pillow with arms, and I have actually really loved that. It's great to be able to lean against that, against the window, so I would recommend that if you've got the space. It really just gives you, again, more ability to kind of sit and be comfortable in the back of the van. And then additionally, I have various hooks. So you can get these again on Amazon. They're just hooks. They're holding my various bags with various items, including my trash. So these are super nifty. If you have a place to be able to put them, highly recommend that. Then going over here, I do have solar panels. So I have this solar panel for my 300 watt Jackery. This was the very first thing that I bought back when I was first just thinking about going camping, really. And I was just camping in the back of my Subaru Forester, which was very cramped but doable. And I picked this up just to make that a little bit easier. But then somehow I ended up with a van. I feel like it's a slippery slope. You start camping, and then you start camping in your Subaru, and then God knows what happens, and suddenly you have a van. So that was me, and here's my van. And here are my stickers. My my own contribution. I am single. No. But you have to marry me first to drive the van. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the back of the van here. So taking a look at the back of the van, first I'm going to just address some storage. So under there is my chair, and then also under there is my tire. So I do have a spare tire under there, and if you take a look here, these are the original legs of the futon, and these are the legs that I bought off of Amazon that we also retrofit to give me some extra space to be able to fit the tire, because it could not fit otherwise. My long-term goal is actually to put the tire on the back of the van, ideally, but for now it's sitting under there, and it is relatively comfortable, and I still have a little bit of space for various items of storage. Otherwise, I've got my chair, and then I have a couple of these little chairs, whether someone needs to sit in them or I want to put my feet up. I also have a bat for emergencies, unlikely but possible, and I have a fire alarm. I also have a carbon monoxide detector, but I had issues with my tailpipe and many holes in it, and so the carbon monoxide detector would go off all the time. So I removed that and also fixed the tailpipe. Then we have this storage here. Again, I mentioned those are going to be removed, but this is basically where I just store all my food, is in that bin, and my dog's food is also in there. And then I have various other items that I don't really touch down there. I think that this section is pretty cool. It's a little bit of a mishmash. So I've got I kept losing this. I kept putting this down and then never seeing it again. So I put a little magnet. It is sort of functional, but a little bit of magnet here, and it's sort of functional, but it's acceptable enough. It holds it there, and the door does close as long as I'm careful. Then I have my shovel. Initially, I had wanted the shovel to sit more straight, and it did not. And I had already put this here, and obviously I can't fit anything there, so I fit this. I picked this up online. Super cool old Coca-Cola bottle opener for those emergencies. And then down here at the bottom, again, I'm really just trying to maximize my space usage. So I was able to pick these clamps up again at North 40, but I'm sure you could probably get something similar at like Home Depot or your equivalent hardware store. And you just are able to push in the items that you need. This is for rock hounding, I like to collect rocks. I don't know how far I'm going to go. I don't know if I'll ever need this, but I thought it would be useful. This is just a light that I keep losing in the van, so I've Velcroed it here so I will not. And then I have an axe should I need it for wood purposes. And so that's really the back. The last thing to call out are these hooks. So we applied hooks using the existing screws on the windows, and I just stuck my 2 solar panels on that. The reason that I only have one going is because apparently the plugins for the Jackery solar panels are not all the same. And the plugs for this one do not match the plugs on my Jackery 300, so it doesn't work. So I got to figure out and find I've got to find an alternative, really, to be able to make that work. But I will. So yeah, hooks on both sides, just again for storage purposes. And then one last thing that I meant to mention is actually, you can see it here, not my best work, but we did take all the panels off. So we took all the panels off the walls, and we put Thinsulate on the inside for added insulation. So we did do that. I would recommend it. It made a tremendous difference. We were working on this really throughout all of the winter, and it was very cold. And the minute we put in the Thinsulate, it made a significant difference in the temperature. And so I'd highly recommend that. We put that in everywhere. And the way that these doors are designed is you can just look on the inside, and so you can see them there. Additionally, we had a little bit of difficulty, but we did also pick up these traditionally go on rugs, but we wanted something to just kind of edge out the flooring. So we picked these up, we flipped it around, and we stuck it right here and just drilled it in just to have that protecting the insides of the flooring. And then I also picked up this step. It just slides into the trailer hitch, and I have found it very useful, so I do highly recommend that as well. Most of the items that you see in here you can likely get on Amazon for the most part, because I did. But if you have any questions about a specific item, I'm more than happy to provide specific links and being able to find them. Christmas in July kind of stuff is coming up, I think. It's a little after July 4th when I made this video, and I'll try and post it shortly. But you should be able to find some deals, I'm sure. Otherwise, Black Friday, I picked up the Jackery 300 on Black Friday, and I got like, I don't know, $100, $150 off. So yeah, that's the van. That's Winston. I'm Rev, and thanks so much for taking the time. If you like the van video, feel free to leave a like. I'd love to hear a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions, what I did right, what I did wrong. And feel free to subscribe, because I'm going to make a few more videos as I go on trips. and take you with me. Say bye, Winston. Bye.